Hey yo, y'all, it is Brian here. Today, talking about the San Francisco 49ers. In this one, looking at the opponents for 2021 because of the fact the schedule release will be happening on May 12th around 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific. But I think the 49ers and other teams, they're going to be releasing it a little bit earlier, and it's exciting to see who they're going to be playing from weeks 1 all the way to the end of the season. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday, nothing too crazy for me. I know it's kind of weird to get excited about this kind of stuff, but at the same time, the NFL, they're great at marketing this event, and this is one of the biggest schedule releases probably ever because of the fact it's going to be 17 games for everybody. And for this year in particular, the 49ers, the extra opponent will be the Cincinnati Bengals on the road. Let's just talk about this. I'm excited. I hope you guys are as well. First up, as you all know, NFC West, that's always obvious. We're always going to play them at home and away. Probably the toughest division in football. I could make a separate video just talking about it. The Rams, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, they're all competitive. They all have their pros and cons, but at the same time, it's always a good game when all the teams are healthy. And would I be surprised if everybody from the West makes the playoffs? Not at all. That's how good and stacked these teams are in particular. So it's going to be a tough one, whether we're at home or on the road. But let's talk about other teams outside of the division. I think there's a lot of interesting, intriguing matchups, and I could probably make a separate video about this. But, just pointing out some teams that I think are going to be fun for the 49ers, whether it's for draft picks, quarterbacks, whether it's just great teams that are trying to make a Super Bowl run, anything like that. I'm going to be pointing them out in this particular video. But seeing some opponents that I'm intrigued to see is the Indianapolis Colts. I think that's going to be an interesting one. That game would be a home game to see Carson Wentz make his return with Frank Reich as the head coach. That is going to be fun to watch. Also, they have a very great running game. They have a very underrated defense. Actually, our man DeForest Buckner is in Indianapolis right now, if you guys don't know that by now. But yeah, I'm excited for that matchup. I think the Colts, they are low-key Super Bowl contenders as well. I know people wouldn't really put them up there on the echelons, but they are very good, viable candidates to win the AFC South and make a playoff run. I'm excited to see what they do. Another team in the South, the Tennessee Titans, they're a very good team as well. Derrick Henry, that's probably the guy I'm worried about of all the running backs in this whole list. I mean, you have Dalvin Cook in Minnesota, you have Aaron Jones in Green Bay, but Derrick Henry, this guy can truck a lot of guys. So hopefully the 49ers defense, when they do get to Tennessee and whatever week they get to them, that is going to be a tough one, a circle mark. They better game plan for him definitely, and they better stop him like the Ravens did in the playoffs in 2020, 2021. So I'm excited for that. Those two matchups, great playoff contending teams, and Ryan Tannehill, he's done a great job so far in being the quarterback for the Titans, and he's really revitalized his career and also the Titans as well. So that's two out of the way. Another interesting opponent outside the NFC West, I'd say the Chicago Bears. I know that sounds really weird, but I love to see Justin Fields play against us. I mean, Fields, I know he was very disappointed from getting drafted to the Bears. They traded all the way up to get him number 11th overall, and that's probably the team he did not want to go. I know he wanted to go to teams like the 49ers. That would have been a great team for him personally, just because of the fact the 49ers are very stacked. He could have been to a great offensive mind in Kyle Shanahan, but Trey Lance was our guy, and I'm not disappointed at all. But at the same time, Fields, he's going to have a very fun time in that boring Chicago Bears offense, and we all know careers go to die in Chicago in terms of the quarterback position. They have a great defense. They have a little bit of pieces on offense, but when you have Matt Nagy as your head coach, who doesn't really do that much in terms of innovation for the offense, and when Fields is just pretty much going to try to do his best with all the talent that he has, it's going to be very unfair, and hopefully he can make a big difference. He has all the potential, all the talent to do it, but it's going to be really difficult for him, so we'll see what that happens. But I'm excited to play the Bears definitely in 2021, and hopefully he does take the field instead of Andy Dalton. Some other guys to look forward to, or teams I should say, the Green Bay Packers. I want my revenge against them because 2020 was pretty much a big fluke when all those guys tested positive. We had Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Kendrick Bourne. They are all out, and we didn't really have a quarterback because Jimmy Garoppolo was injured. So Nick Mullins was our quarterback, and that was a terrible time. Richie James did have his great one-game performance, and I hope this year, me and Ruthless did talk about this earlier in the week. We talked about how he should be getting more playing time in the wide receiver position, and it's a perfect opportunity because Kendrick Bourne is no longer with us. Why not make him the other guy to rotate behind Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel as a top receiver. So hopefully he does get more opportunities. But the Packers, that was an absolute fluke of a win for 2020. And the uncertainty with Aaron Rodgers, maybe Jordan Love is going to be their quarterback by the time we play him. But I'm assuming it's going to be Rodgers. I know they have a lot of tension, a lot of beef, but they're going to have to quash that and make a playoff run for 2021. So the Packers, I'd love to get our revenge against them. And some other teams to look forward to. I'd say the Bengals. I mean, to see Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase reunite in Cincinnati, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty interesting. I'd love to see that. The Eagles, I also want a revenge game against them because I thought 2020 was also a fluke. I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo would have been playing that game as healthy as he can, we would have destroyed the Eagles. But since Nick Mullins was our quarterback and he had that one impressive game against the Giants, and then the next week on Sunday Night Football, he floundered under that big pressure. I want my revenge game against Jalen Hurts and company. I'm sorry, it's going to have to be Hurts this time, but you know what? It's going to be interesting to see what the Eagles do. They have a lot of problems on their team, but you never know. Football is a weird animal. Anything can happen, and we could go 16-0, or I should say 17-0, or 0-17. That's going to be very difficult to say. Like when you talk about wins and losses this year in particular, you can't go like 10-6, 11-5. You have to go like 10-7 or 11-6, whatever it goes by now. It's going to take a second for me to get used to that when I do make my final predictions for this upcoming year. But yeah, other than that, I'm liking the schedule right now. I think it's going to be a very competitive one. Every year is always competitive for the most part. And on paper, I think there's a lot of winnable games, but at the same time, you just never know. The 49ers, they could be very injury beat up like they were in 2020. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping they can stay as healthy as possible. Then I think it could be a very healthy year for the 49ers, and then hopefully make a nice Super Bowl run. That's it, guys. I hope you guys are excited for the schedule release on May 12th. I think that's on a Wednesday around 7:45. I'd say for the 49ers in particular, Eastern time, and then I'll try to have a reaction video when it does happen. But yeah, really quick predictions. I'd say we face somebody not in our division early weeks, and then we'll have the division opponents probably later to the middle of the season. And maybe week 1 we'll probably play. If I had to pick a team, maybe that's an interesting one. I'd say probably the Titans. That'd be a pretty interesting one. I would love to see the 49ers play Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Ryan Tannehill. I love to circle that in as week 1. And everything else, we'll see what happens. Yep, that's it, guys. I'm going to end the video right here. Please let me know what you guys have for the schedule. I'd like to hear what you guys say in the comments below. If you guys like this, please like and subscribe. That's going to help me out a lot. I'll be catching you guys up hopefully tomorrow on a Wednesday. Bye, guys. Love y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your night. Go Niners all day.